Journey, Fiverr Friday, episode number 75. Can you believe it? Number 75. We've done 75 Fiverr Fridays. I'm super excited to be coming to you today. It is, August 19th, 2022. We are live for Fiverr Friday. And, of course, if you are new to Fiverr Friday or have never seen Fiverr Friday, this is where we all get together live and you bring your questions, your comments about Fiverr, and you post them in the chat, and I do my very best to answer them as good as I can. Okay, so bring your questions for Fiverr. Make sure you list your name, where you're from in the chat, so I can say hello and acknowledge that you're here, and also that we can have a good conversation about Fiverr. So the title of today's kind of chat, what I do is I chat a little bit, I talk a little bit about what my thoughts are on Fiverr, and then I open it up for your questions, and then I answer them to the best of my ability. So today's topic, and I think it's a very valid one. Can you still make money on Fiverr in 2022? We should say the latter half, because we're actually, we're in August. It's crazy. We're more than halfway through August. And, can you actually still make money on Fiverr? That is a really, really good question. And I want to say that there are so many people who are struggling now with Fiverr, for a lot of reasons. And I think that, talking about them today would be a good thing. I will say off the bat, of course, you can still make money on Fiverr in 2022. I think what I really want to have a chat with you today about is how much money can you make on Fiverr in 2022 as a voice actor? How much money can you make now? Is it the same as it was 2 years ago? No doubt COVID was horrendous, but it did a lot, I think, for Fiverr and a lot of new people coming into the voiceover industry. Fiverr really jumped, from 2019, 2020. It was such a massive growth time for home businesses, right? Because we were home. So, Fiverr definitely was, really feeding a lot of voice actors. I always look at platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, Voices.com. There's a lot of mouths to feed, right? There's a lot of voice actors who need to get work or who are on that platform wanting to get work, right? And because they're on that platform wanting to get work, the platform's trying to do everything it can to bring as much people there as possible to satisfy all of that supply. Because we've got a lot of supply. Fiverr has a lot of supply, a lot of voice actors, a lot of supply. So because of that, then, they have to keep it up over time. And it's interesting, if you've ever read some of Fiverr's documents, their prospectus, things for their investors, they talk about that, and you can actually see all of that information down below. If you're on Fiverr and you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you can see all that information. And it's something that we talk actually a lot about in a VO's Journey Elite Academy. These different things with Fiverr and also other platforms. Because I think it's good to also be a part of a community where you can, chat about these things, talk about these things, learn about them, stay abreast of what's happening, because there will be times when things like platforms like Fiverr grow and then they will retract. And it's important to be on top of that. So in that prospectus that Fiverr is released and they continue to update, but for investors, it talks about their biggest challenge is, one, holding on to talent, having a good pool of qualified talent. but also, making sure that that talent and they're bringing clients in to satisfy, that demand, and that need, because it's on both ends, right? Without clients, we can't make Fiverr any money, but without us, the client, there will be no clients. So it's a really symbiotic relationship. And I do think that it has, though, declined. Clearly, it's declined in the last year, especially in the last couple of months. I think there's a lot to be said about what's happening in the world and what's happening in the US and around the world. Fiverr is a global company. They deal, they deal in all sorts of areas. Voiceover is just a small part of Fiverr. But I know for me, I do voiceover work all around the world. So no matter where in the world, you're doing the majority of your business, I'd still do 60% of my work outside of the US. So if there's somewhere in the world being affected by something or whatever, whether it's, the global retraction or whatever, whatever, we're going to feel it. And I do think we are feeling some of that. I think Fiverr is feeling some of that. I do think that Fiverr has really had a lot more competition. Fiverr still, in my mind, has the majority of market share when it comes to the gig economy. No doubt about that. But if you've noticed, places like voices.com, places like People Per Hour, places like Upwork, all of these different places, they are chipping away at that market share. They have, the word is out, the gig economy is here, meaning, the types of offerings, the types of styles we offer customers to come to us and purchase from us, how they purchase from us. So many of these platforms have modeled what Fiverr created. And, I think because of that too, it's chipping away at it. So I do think that is a part of also what's happening on Fiverr. I do think there's a lot of people I do think Fiverr has tried to change also the trajectory of clientele they are targeting. Fiverr's talked about this a lot over the years, that, despite the name Fiverr, they've tried to really go after higher paying clients. But I still think we all know the bread and butter that they still have are lower paying clients. But they're trying very hard. They've been trying very hard to do a lot more, and the platform has changed quite a bit. And it has grown. So that's another thing. That's another thing to consider. When I started, even just 5 years ago on Fiverr, 2017, I remember very specifically there was like 6,850 some gigs available on Fiverr for voiceover when I started. Now there's 30,000 gigs. Now that's not 30,000 different people, because many of us have multiple gigs, but still, even if you look at a gig as its own marketing entity, which it is, you're competing against 30,000 other gigs. And that is a lot to compete against. Okay? I mean, that's massive. And, it can be very challenging. The idea used to be that Fiverr was, low entry. You didn't have to be good. You didn't have to be have good equipment, or have your P's and Q's. You dot your I's and cross your T's. You didn't have to be good at this business, and it's just not the case anymore. Anywhere you are. But I do think with the number, and so lots change, the more people get onto that platform, right? So not only does the growth of the platform affect how much work, but it's also going to affect, how good you have to be. But think of it this way. So with 30,000 gigs, here's just let's just do some quick math, because this will be, so we know top rated sellers, okay, according to the statistics of Fiverr, you have to make, at least in voiceover, you got to make at least $20,000 to be a top-rated seller. And I haven't looked exactly at the numbers at the moment, but I do know that there are thousands of top-rated sellers. So you can imagine the millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And by the way, $20,000 is just the criteria to become a top-rated seller. Many of these top-rated sellers, including myself, have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. That is not a lie. Some people might tell you that's a lie. You can't do that. It's not a lie. I've shown the results myself of my page. Many people show the results in Avio's journey in our Elite Academy and in our Facebook group. We post earnings. I mean, some people make $50, $100 a month. Some people are making $15,000 to $20,000 a month. I mean, there's a lot of money being made. But where I'm going with this is that with the sheer amount of people on there, there's gonna be a cap on how much is available, how much demand is there. Okay, how much demand is there for 30,000 gigs? So I do think that is something to take consideration when you're looking at this. So what does all that mean? What does all that mean? So it means that Fiverr still needs to be one of your primary marketing sources, I believe, but it should not be your only source. And it should not dictate what you do. Now, I will say, however, there will be times, and it happens to me. I was talking to one of my students and colleagues and so forth. They were like, they got 14 jobs yesterday, right? And they had to put it on pause, or they had to put them on vacation mode because they just couldn't handle all the stuff with all the other work that they're doing, right? And then there's some people who are like, I haven't gotten a job in 2 months. So what you have to understand, this is happening because there's so many people now that it seems too like it slows down. But at the same time, you just got so many other people too that is it slowing down, or there's just not enough demand to go around. So that means that, you need to be there, but not, expect it to be the end all. Some people will be packed. You're always going to see those people who pop up and be like, Fiverr's so good for me, I get to buy a yacht. And that's wonderful. All right, because some people will get that. But for the majority of us, that's not, we're plugging away day in, day out, trying to get work and from multiple places. So I wanted to share that with you because I do think that it's something that it did seem like it was a little bit easier years and years ago to get in there and establish yourself and really grow if you knew what you were doing. If you had the right setup and everything, you could get a lot more business a lot faster. Now you could still do it, but it just takes longer. It takes longer. The more people that are there, it just takes longer. So anyways, so go ahead and put your thoughts, put your comments, questions in the chat. Make sure you put your name in there as well. And by the way, as always, just so you know, because this is about Fiverr Friday, but also we do Fiverr Saturdays where we get together in Avio's Journey Elite Academy, and I go over your gigs, I critique them, I answer your questions on a one-on-one basis like this, where you can actually ask, questions in the group. And our Discord channel and everything on top of everything else we do in the Academy. So that's also something. There's a link below, I believe, for the Academy. We're doing half off the first month. So we'd love to have you. But let's go ahead and check out Danny. What's up? Good morning from San Diego. Good morning, Danny. Good to have you, sir. Peter from Charlottesville. It's nice to have you, sir. Let's see. Facebook user, morning. Remember, put your name in there because sometimes it's hard to see who it is. Because Facebook, again, for whatever reason, does not do that. It says, morning, I'm surprised I managed to catch a live. I hear you. It's good to have you. Annabelle, what's up, Annabelle? Says, hello from Chester, Virginia. I joined the Academy recently, and that's where I am at. Yay! It's great to have you, Annabelle. I need to get work, but there's still so much to learn. Absolutely. And that's why I think the Academy is such an awesome place to be, because, the community is so supportive. You're going to learn a lot, but at the same time, we focus on that live interaction that, like, actually you get to talk to me on a daily, weekly basis if you want, through our lives in Discord too, in the evenings and things. But the reason why is because we want you to make money. So that's something that I really firmly believe in. So Annabelle, it's great to have you. Michael, hey, P from Connecticut. What's up, Michael? Let's see. Facebook user Andy in Cancun. Andy in Cancun. Cheers, Andy. I'm always jealous of you in Cancun. I feel like that's a song. Andy in Cancun. I'm singing on Fiverr Friday. That's good stuff. Anyways, you can make money on Fiverr today. Like with all industries, things are constantly evolving and reacting to what's going on in the world. I went through a dry spell there, but things have picked up, and August is going well and looking up. Cheers from Cancun. Awesome. And and Andy, that's a good point too. Don't ever forget the summer doldrums. It just seems it's always every summer, and some summers are worse than others, but it does seem that there's always a slowdown in summer and things pick up back in the fall, especially the closer we get to Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, right? The big marketing holidays for us. So it always does seem to pick up during then, and summer does seem to be slower. So, but thank you, Andy. Absolutely. Let's see. John. Hi, Anthony. What's up, John? Good to see you, buddy, from Texas. Thanks for the kind gesture yesterday. Anytime, my friend. Let's see. Facebook. I'm down this month myself, but I know I need to pick my direct marketing game back up. I've gotten lazy. I think the Fiverr Dream, right, is to wake up in the morning and there's jobs in your queue. You didn't have to go out and email people and search and call and send 15 newsletters in hopes that 16th email follow up they're gonna need you. It's really nice, and I think that's the dream of Fiverr. But there can be a lot that comes with it, right? Because if that dream comes to fruition, then you're right. We can get a little bit complacent, and then I always say Fiverr giveth and Fiverr can taketh away. So then if it goes away, we're kind of stuck wondering, like, scratching our heads. Well, crap, I don't have anything else going. That's why I always think, put your effort into put the majority of your effort into what's really working for you at the moment, but make sure there's some effort on the back end, okay, in your master plan to take over the world. That's what I always say, put your 80% into what you're making money right now on the front end. All right, but then 20% of that is your plan to take over the world. Always have a plan, a backup plan, or and not necessarily a backup plan, but an overall plan to grow beyond just platforms. Let's see, Facebook user. Hey, buddy, what's up? Remember, again, make sure you put your names in the Facebook, or when you're in Facebook, because I can't see your name. V Worldwide, good afternoon. Good to have you. How is market for African-American male voiceover at the moment? So listen, it is a great search term. People are looking for them. So make sure you have that up. Okay? Make sure you have that up. Absolutely. It's a great market right now. So really make sure you have that gig title up, because people are searching for it. Voiceover Angela. Hello, Angela. AP in the house. Hey, buddy. Good to have you, Angela, as always. Carter B. I love that name, Carter B. Happy Fiverr Friday, AP and peeps. Good to have you. Mark Anthony Smith. What's up, Mark? I found it almost impossible to get started with Fiverr. So do you mean like to get started, like getting it actually up and running, or getting work? You know what I mean? Which one do you mean? And again, if you have challenges too, that's something we really work with all of our members in the Academy too to help you. But let me know which one you mean, Mark. Do you mean like getting started, like actually getting your gig live, or getting work? Let's see. Carter B's from Nevada. Cool. Let's see. Facebook user. What? Facebook isn't revealing my identity? Weird. I should have known that was Storm. Hi, Storm. How are you doing? Good to have you. I could even see you saying that in my head. Let's see. Is it Mattias? Mattias? Good morning, Anthony. How are you doing? I'm doing wonderful. Sorry, I probably butchered your name. I apologize. Let's see. The evil leprechaun. Are you worried about prices being driven down because of how many people are competing with each other now? I think so. What popped into my mind, I don't think they can go any lower on Fiverr. I'm glad you asked this question. I'm actually seeing more and more of us on Fiverr who have for years, put in a lot of hard work, and we're just not accepting as much lower priced work anymore. Right? I mean, and I think that that's going to drive up, and that could be a situation that Fiverr needs to address too. Something that voices.com did. Now, I don't think Fiverr can do this because I think it would tank Fiverr's whole business model. But voices.com at least capped theirs at 100, right? They capped theirs at 100. But Fiverr couldn't do that. But what I like to do, and what I've said for a long time, is that we as a group, collectively, a voiceover group, and this is what I said for people who don't like Fiverr. For better or for worse, Fiverr, there's a lot of people going to Fiverr. So we as a group, if we came together, right, not berate each other, but come together and raise prices collectively, I think it still can be a great place for us to also help educate how much work and effort we have to put into this work. So I do think that much competition will, because in a free market, of course, more competition, prices, when there's more supply, right, prices go down. But I do think Fiverr does have a cap on prices, and that's $5. So you can't go lower than $5, and it's already been there for years and years and years. I do think that what will happen is, and I think it has, right, is it gives people an opportunity to stand out on the other end. You always have to ask yourself, do you want to be the cheapest or the most expensive? But on Fiverr, you have to also learn it's a marketing tool, right? I know, like, when you start a business, especially any industry, you're going to do specials, you're going to give away stuff to get people to recognize you, to give you a chance, because you haven't proven anything yet. I look at Fiverr the same way. I don't look at Fiverr pricing as the end-all, be-all. I look at it as just a way of a beginning and grow. I mean, my average selling price now per job is well over $100 per job. I haven't done a 5, 10, 15. I haven't done a job like that in years now. But I started that way. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it can really drive prices down anymore. I think what's happening now, though, is what it's doing is, and I would say this, is it's making people search way more for specific things. Like, for example, if I gave you all these people that can do something, right? Well, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, well, I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to search for, I just want somebody who can do this. And I just want somebody who can do that. So instead, you're going to start searching for niches. And I think that's something that you can look at in Fiverr, is where can you find those little holes? And they're always changing, right? Like, if you follow the trends, NFTs have been massive, but NFTs have not really taken off so much for voice actors. Okay, as much as, even though that's the number one trending thing on Fiverr of the artwork, right, and NFTs, and it was massive, right? But it's not for voiceover. So you have to think too, how does, but you've got to try it out anyways. Podcasting was massive. Meditation was massive. And these things are still massive. But what's next? You've got to follow the trend. Like, when I started, audiobooks wasn't really a thing on Fiverr. And I remember getting started, and there was just a handful of people doing audiobooks. And I was, I had my stuff up, and I started doing audiobooks. And, people at that time, people really, not that people still don't dislike Fiverr in some senses, but really, people really, really hated Fiverr. And audiobooks, I mean, I was making $200-$300 per finished hour, right? Interesting, by the way, interestingly enough, do you notice how like audiobook prices and a lot of the prices don't change? Like inflation or anything like that over time, like even at least when I mean, it's still the same industry standard pricing as it was. It's just an interesting note now that I'm thinking about it, because it was the same back then. It was the same years and years ago as it is now. You know, that 250 mark, that 200 to 300, and but anyways, you could get that all day long on Fiverr, and a lot of people are today making a lot of money. And that was something I was like, man, you could do all kinds of stuff like on Fiverr that people claim is not happening is actually really happening. So anyways, sorry, Evil. We really went into that one. Let's see. AP. You need to start your own site for us grafters and call it Tenor. We would all jump on. Fifi from Portugal, your humble student. Yes, absolutely. I love it. Welcome from Portugal. It is good to have you, Fifi. Let's see. Again, I hope, Mattias, I'm going to say, I apologize. I got a question. I got a gig of commercial voiceover Spanish in Fiverr. Okay. I can't get to spike my convention. You mean conversion? Maybe conversion in sales? Tons of impressions, but 10 to 15 clicks and one customer. What should I do? Okay. So when it comes to, there's no doubt that the first off, the key, right? There's 3 keys in Fiverr. First off, you got to be found. That's the number one thing, impressions. And there's only literally like 2 to 3 main things that you have control over to affect impressions. Okay. Well, let me rephrase. You have about 2 to 3 things that you can change at any given time to affect impressions. One of those is your title. Okay. The second one are your tags. Those are the 2 big things that you can change right away that will affect your impressions. And your gig description can also do that too. Okay. There is many other parts that go into your impressions from the algorithm, depending on how much work you have going through that, depending on your stats, all these different things that, what's happening with a variety of them, things that are not in your control. But that's the first thing. Okay. And you can change that anytime you want to see what's working, what's not working. The second thing is, once you are found, you've got to be enticing enough for people to click on you. Okay, that's your thumbnail, that's your pricing. That's the first 1 to 3 seconds of your demo. The first 1 to 3 seconds of your demo should be the very best that you have to offer in your entire business and that you think you're going to sell the most of on Fiverr. And that for that gig, this is so vital. I see so many people putting their best voiceover, their best work last. Nobody's even getting to that last part of your demo. Put the best stuff you have the first 1 to 3 seconds. Your thumbnail needs to look professional and knock everybody else's out of the water. And your pricing, that's something to play with. Okay? So once somebody does click on you, then you have to be inspiring enough for them to buy from you. Okay? And I find that usually, when someone clicks on you, they're really interested. And I would say that, again, your demo needs to bring it home. We don't live in an age anymore. Like I really tell people, well, it's a catch-22 for me. One, I don't want you to sit there and stress over, well, my stuff isn't good enough right now. Get it up. Get your stuff up, but continuously work, though, on making it better. Okay, but those are the 3 things that you need to do to really work on that. And remember, you might need to try something else. Oh, wait, you got more stuff here. I got pro demos, 5 different commercial tones. Okay, thank you. Hold on. I meant I am not getting enough work from Fiverr. Sorry. Okay. Well, again, all that plays into what I was talking about. And you have to look at that one step at a time, because in the end, the more impressions you get, the more opportunities you have. And we need the opportunities in order to score work. So to get opportunities, we have to have impressions. So it all starts with that. And unfortunately, okay, you've got to do your very best to land as much as you can when you're first starting with not a lot. Okay, now Fiverr is completely redoing the buyer requests, and I'm like, thank goodness, right? Because they really needed to redo the buyer request for a while now. So that's going to be different. They've been trying this brief thing. They're not succeeding with it because I got a brief the other day for some a female. At least it was a voice artist, like people per hour. They struggle. Sometimes I get like, they need a software engineer. I'm like, nowhere on my profile does it say I'm a software engineer. Why are you sending me this? So at least Fiverr's briefs are being sent with voiceovers, but it was like a female who spoke Chinese. Like that nowhere is that on my profile. So clearly Fiverr's still working out bugs with their briefs that they're, that's funny. Bugs with their briefs. Drink coffee. Anyways, yeah, so I wouldn't pay much attention to that, but keep looking at and keep sending out buyer requests. Even I'm a big advocate for sending them out, even if it's not tailored completely for you. They might know somebody. These are people actively looking for voiceovers. You know what I mean? So even though they're not looking for you at the moment, they might have a friend. They might know someone who needs your voiceover. They might need your type of voiceover next week. Okay, so just acknowledge that. Say, hey, I know I'm not what you're looking for right now, but if you ever need, an American male voiceover, I'm your guy or whatever. Okay, let's see. Facebook user says, LOL. Kendall says, hi from Ohio. Hi, Kendall. Let's see. Hey, Anthony, greetings from PH. Is that Philippines? Is that Philadelphia? I don't even know. What is it? I'm going to be like totally off and I'm going to feel like an idiot, but that's okay because I am an idiot sometimes. Good afternoon, Anthony, Matthew. What's up? Well, we've run out of questions or people saying hello. So I really do appreciate y'all's time today. I know I was a little late because I had to run some errands with the kids and I didn't get back until about 1:30 or so. So I do apologize for that. But thank you guys so much for spending at least the last 30 minutes with me, and hopefully I've answered some questions. Check out the link below for VO's Journey Elite Academy. We're constantly working together with each other in real time, real access, to each other, to me and coaches. We do have a lot of wonderful pre-recorded content, but I wanted to create something where you actually could talk to someone for real. You know what I mean? And you could ask questions and get critiques and get your audio looked at and listened to. And so anyway, check out the link below for that. Love to have you. Matt says he's got one question. All right, Matt, one question. Hit me with it. I think there's a delay. We're going to... Oh, Ross. Ross beat you, Matt. Ross said, if you're just starting, what are some important audio settings to pay attention to? Good question. So first things first, Ross, you've got to get with a community that's going to be able to help you with it, or coaching that's going to be able to help you with it. And again, I know I plugged the Academy a bunch today, but even if it's not the Academy, even if it's not a VO, it's somebody, you got to get with somebody. And I'll tell you why. Because one of the things I also have mentor students, although I'm not taking any more right now. But some of my students, one of the biggest things we work on is doing too much with your audio. So the thing that you should focus on, no matter what, the biggest thing is your space. Your space should be the number one thing that you focus your time, energy, and money on. Good equipment, expensive microphones and interfaces, they're great. And will they help you? Sure. But entry-level microphones, interfaces, etc. will do wonders and almost just as good if your space is treated to the nines. Your space matters so much because better equipment is just going to make a crappy space sound even more crappy. It's gonna, right? I mean, it's going to highlight the crappiness. So it's not, the space is where I would concern myself with. And once you have a really good acoustical and soundproof space dialed in, then I would live by the motto, less is more. When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, so I was processing my audio like I was processing it like it was like I was Not that I churn butter, but for some reason that came to mind. Just kept doing it and churning it. I don't know. I churn butter every morning at 3 a.m. You whippersnappers. I don't know. It came out of me. Okay. Anyways, that would be my biggest advice. Don't overdo your stuff. Less is more. What platform you're on matters, but less is more. The biggest problem new voice actors have with editing their work is over processing it, adding like de-essers and deplosives. Do you have those issues? Yes, we all have them, but as you move along, you learn how to target them without using overall ones, because the frequencies that those target, they literally will make you sound muffled, and you'll be like, I can't figure out why I would get so frustrated when I first started. I just want my audio to sound better. Why does it sound so? I can't figure it out. A lot of it is what you're using to figure it out. I mean, what you're using, like these plugins. You know, I recommend, RX9, RX10 is about to come out, from Isotope, but I only use the mouth declick and the voice to noise on adaptive mode, right? And dialogue, I don't use the deplosive, the de-esser. I will target that stuff manually through a parametric equalizer. But this is what I'm talking about. If you're just brand new, Ross, get with a group of people. Don Barnes is our tech teacher, right? And he does this every week. I do. We have pre-recorded content. We have live sessions. I'm live in our Discord often, and many nights during the week to answer these questions. You got to get with someone who can help you, because then on the other hand, once you do that, you don't know if it sounds good, right? Like you'll be like, I guess this could be okay. You got to have somebody who knows what they're doing to listen to you. All right. Who's been an engineer for a long time, or who's been doing a lot of people's work, so that they can say yay or nay. And a lot of times, remember, if you post it in groups, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's good meaning people trying to help you. But the reality, and they're not being malicious, but the reality is you don't know what they're listening to your stuff through. You don't know what training they've had. You don't know if they're right or they're actually hurting you or harm. That's why you want to make sure whenever you work with someone too, you're working with someone who has experience in this, and they can steer you the right way. Because like Don and I have the same philosophy. Less is more, right? So many times people put so much into it that it's just overwhelming. Let's see. Matt says, if someone gets broadcast rights, does that include commercial? Good question, Matt. It's up to you. I think that personally, broadcast rights should be a reflection of, in my personal opinion, adding both of them. Okay. But technically, according to what the definitions are by Fiverr, that's not necessarily so. So commercial rights are for any business use other than paid advertising, right? Like any business use that you're going to use my voiceover for, which should be like 95% of all voiceovers should have commercial rights, even though many of you on Fiverr know at a certain price point or below, it's like fighting a wall. People do not want to pay that because they just want to pay that low price. But after you get to a certain price point on Fiverr, everybody pays it, really. The majority of people pay commercial broadcast rights. However, broadcast rights are for paid work. For paid advertising, like TV ads, radio ads, that the client is paying. Okay. So that's a really important thing. So you can do both in that one, where you can have, I suggest, and by the way, on a side note, I always suggest that you put it down, both of them, when you send an offer, because you can always take away, but always send an offer. Don't ask, hey, do you need commercial rights? Don't even ask them. You put it in your quote. Okay. Kendall, thank you so much, man, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Or the thank you. Thank you so much. I think it's either like it's a super thank you or a super chat. I'm not sure. But either way, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Pair character jumping up and down. So on the thing, it doesn't show the pair character. It just like writes it out. But thank you very much for that. And thank you so much, Kendall. I really appreciate that. Donating to the channel. That really helps so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Mike says, hi, Anthony from Brazil. What's up, Mike? How's the weather in Brazil? I was recently accepted as a Fiverr Pro. Sweet VO artist, and hoped that it would kickstart my Fiverr gigs, but I seem to be getting even less interest. Have I made a mistake? Good call, Mike. So Fiverr Pro is for those of you who don't start, Fiverr started a while ago a pro series to market to higher end clients, and you're not allowed. I mean, there's exceptions, but for the most part, they want you to start at $100 and up. They've come to me multiple times and asked me if I wanted to switch to Fiverr Pro. Fiverr has. And I've said no, because I make more money than most of the people I know on Fiverr Pro as a top rated seller. However, you know what I mean? It is one of those things where you're going to get a different clientele. You might not get as much, but you're going to get a different clientele. I don't know how long, Mike, you've been a Fiverr Pro, and I don't know if you were on Fiverr before that, but, I would give it some time. And, the whole point of Fiverr Pros are supposed to be specific marketing for pro services. So, again, I know we have students, Storm started out as, a regular seller and then went over to pro, and I think it served Storm very well. But Storm's fought a long time to get work on Fiverr. So I think Storm has earned it. I will admit it's not a fast thing, and it not that it ever was. I mean, my first year I made like $800 in voiceover, and that wasn't, most of it was from ACX, not Fiverr. It wasn't until my next year that I finally dialed in and I got serious enough on Fiverr that I made $20,000 that year. All right. And then the year afterwards, that's where I jumped and made over six figures on Fiverr. But that didn't happen at first. That was the third year I was in it. Okay. So I wouldn't give up just yet on it. Keep dialing it, keep talking to, and by the way, the Seller Plus program was actually started originally for pros, for the pro service. Then they actually went into the rest of it into regular sellers, and now they offer it as a service that you can pay for. Storm says, I heard my name, LOL. Yep, accurate. It took patience. I almost didn't have. Right. It took time, because I've been working and following Storm for many years, and I know that that's something that she really worked hard on for a while. Let's see. Steve says, anyone noticed that Fiverr took away the add music gig extra? I did not know that. I still have mine on there, so I'm not sure. I'll triple check today, but I'm pretty sure I still have it, but maybe not. Let's see. Ross Carter says, thank you. LOL. I've actually churned butter for about 10 seconds. Yeah, we used to have, we used to have my mother used to have the churn bucket or whatever, with the lid and the pole on it, and yeah, I remember. But we didn't churn butter, but we had one. Tony says, greetings, Anthony from Ireland. What's up? Less is more is very true. Absolutely. So it's like 7 there in Ireland. Again, Kendall, thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you. Let's see. Matt says, gotcha. Thank you. Absolutely. Mike Sewell says, about 3 months on Fiverr Pro, 2 years on Fiverr. Did they make you start over as a pro, Mike? One of the things now, again, like I said, other people like Storm, who's doing it now would know better. But I know for me, one of the biggest things was that they wouldn't let all of my when they wanted me to be pro, they wouldn't let all of my reviews and everything couldn't transfer over, because as a pro, you then can become a top-rated seller too as a pro, if I'm not mistaken. So that was something I was like, I'm not going to lose my thousands and thousands of reviews, although they might have changed some things now. But Yeah, I would give it. You got to give it a little bit more time. All right, let's see. Mike says, by the way, it's only 13 Celsius here today. It's warmer in my native England. Boy, that's wild. Storm here says, oh, interesting. I just set up a new gig last night and didn't notice the add music extra wasn't an option in the new gig. I had to really check out that. I wonder if they're... Now, listen, Fiverr's been doing a lot of stuff and screwing around with a lot of stuff, so who knows what they're doing and whether they screwed up or they've got some plan. But they better fix that. Or you just going to add an extra... Or they took the extra off and then you have to add it in yourself as an extra. No, I was lucky enough to transfer everything over to Pro. Oh, that's good. I was only level 1 seller. Well, that's good, though, that you were able to get over to Pro. All right, gang. Well, listen, thank you so much. I'm going to jet. It was awesome speaking with you guys today. Thank you again, Kendall, for the super chat. Also, make sure you check out that half-off special for the first month from Avio's Journey Elite Academy. We'd love to have you. And, yeah, it's great. I had a blast. Fiverr is still worth it. It really is. It's just taking a lot longer now to establish yourself and to get work. So whatever you do, get on Fiverr, but don't put all your eggs in that one basket. Okay? All right, everybody. You have a good weekend. Happy Friday, and have a great Saturday and Sunday. See you next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.